Domain authority, tools and platforms to grow. SEO, authority, and the modern B2B buying journey. If you sell B2B and you still treat SEO like a marketing nice-to-have, you're making Outbound harder than it needs to be. Buyers research privately, compare options across search and communities, and often form a shortlist before they ever apply to an SDR. In 2024, organic search drove an average of 33% of website traffic across major industries, which means your visibility, or lack of it, shows up directly in pipeline. Organic search is also the biggest single trackable channel across the web, accounting for about 53.3% of traffic. That matters because the Google you after the first touch behavior is real. Even if your motion is led by a sales development agency or an outsourced sales team, prospects still validate credibility by what they find online. This is where domain authority enters the conversation as a revenue lever. When your domain is trusted, your content ranks faster, your brand shows up more often in research, and your outbound feels less cold. For teams running cold calling services, a cold email agency, or full sales outsourcing, authority is the quiet multiplier that makes every sequence land warmer. Domain authority metrics, what they measure and what they don't. Domain authority isn't a single Google score. It's a family of third-party metrics designed to estimate ranking strength based largely on links and related signals. Moz has domain authority, DA, Ahrefs has domain rating, DR, Semrush has authority score, and Majestic focuses on trust flow and citation flow. These scores are useful, but they're directional, best used to guide decisions, not to declare victory. Teams obsess over these numbers because they correlate with outcomes, and the market treats them as real currency. In one survey, 65% of marketers evaluate domain authority, 48% look at domain rating, and 34% would choose DA as their single metric for link quality. The practical takeaway is to pick one primary metric for goal setting, then cross-check high-stakes decisions in a second tool so you don't get fooled by one index or formula. For revenue teams, the translation is simple. Authority increases the odds that the right pages rank for high-intent searches and get surfaced in AI-driven discovery. But rankings alone aren't the KPI, pipeline is. We recommend tying authority movement to metrics your CRO actually cares about: inbound SQL volume, meeting rate, win rate, and sales cycle length. Choosing the right platforms to measure and build authority. Most B2B teams don't fail because they lack tools. They fail because the tools aren't connected to a repeatable workflow. Your stack should answer 3 questions: who links to us, who links to competitors, and what content earns links and demand. Moz is great for clean DA tracking. Ahrefs is strong for backlink intelligence. Semrush is a solid all-in-one for competitive and technical visibility, and Majestic adds trust-focused link analysis. The key is to treat these platforms as a decision system, not a dashboard. Marketing uses them to plan content hubs and prioritize link targets. Sales uses them to sanity check partner placements, directories, associations, and co-marketing opportunities that your buyers will actually recognize. When your outbound sales agency motion points prospects to assets hosted on a credible domain, response quality improves even if volume stays the same. Below is a practical way to think about each platform without getting lost in feature overload. If you're building an SDR agency playbook, this table also makes it easier to assign ownership: who monitors, who acts, and what done looks like. A practical growth playbook: content hubs plus strategic links. The fastest sustainable path to higher authority is a focused mix of link-worthy content and intentional distribution. Start by building content hubs around the problems your ICP is already searching: buyer guides, comparisons, implementation playbooks, ROI calculators, and objection handling pages that align with real sales conversations. When those hubs are cohesive, internal linking improves, topical relevance strengthens, and each new backlink lifts multiple pages instead of a single blog post. Next, use SDR and AE Intel as your content R&D engine. Your cold callers hear the raw objections and hidden requirements that rarely show up in keyword tools, and turning those into authoritative resources is how content becomes both linkable and usable in outreach. This matters because lead quality differs dramatically by channel. SEO-generated leads convert around 14.6% on average versus roughly 1.7% for outbound, so the upside of ranking is not subtle. Finally, pursue links from sites your buyers actually read. Niche publications, partners, industry associations, podcasts, and trusted tools, not random guest posts built to move DA. Link building is where many teams stall, and it's why 55.2% of SEO specialists call it the hardest part of SEO. So you need a process, quality criteria, a target list, outreach messaging, and a monthly cadence. The goal isn't to win an SEO beauty contest, it's to earn authority that translates into revenue. When domain authority is treated as a shared KPI, marketing earns visibility and sales earns trust. So pipeline grows without forcing outbound volume to do all the work. Turning authority into pipeline, making outbound warmer and more credible. Authority matters more now because buyers increasingly want to self-serve. Gartner found 61% of B2B buyers prefer a rep-free experience, and 73% actively avoid suppliers that send irrelevant outreach. That's the playbook shift. Your website and content have to do early-stage selling, while your SDRs orchestrate the conversation at the right moment. In practical terms, every outbound sequence should point to a credible, high-authority asset that matches the persona's problem. For example, a cold email agency sequence can lead with a short insight and link to a deep comparison page. A B2B cold calling services sequence can reference a technical implementation guide. And an outbound sales agency can use case study hubs as proof points to reduce skepticism. The moment a prospect searches your brand after an email or call, strong authority increases the odds they see your best content, not a competitor outranking you for your own category terms. This is also where we see the strongest compounding effect. A single high-performing asset supports SEO, paid retargeting, LinkedIn outreach services, nurture, and sales enablement at once. If you're using SalesHive as your sales outsourcing partner, our SDR teams can weave those assets into multi-channel touch patterns so outreach feels helpful instead of spammy. The win isn't more clicks, it's more qualified conversations that start from trust. Common authority killers and the fixes that actually work. One of the biggest mistakes is chasing authority as a vanity number instead of a revenue lever. A jump from DA 40 to 50 means nothing if it doesn't increase qualified demo requests, improve meeting to opportunity rate, or shorten cycle time. The fix is to set authority goals in context. Which keywords, which pages, which offers, and which pipeline outcomes you expect to influence. Another common failure is relying on a single tool and assuming its score is truth. Because Moz, Ahrefs, Semrush, and Majestic all model authority differently, living in one platform can make you overconfident or overly pessimistic. Use one primary metric for reporting, but cross-check link quality and competitor gaps elsewhere. Then validate with real signals like organic traffic, branded search lift, assisted conversions, and inbound SQL quality. The fastest way to sabotage long-term results is buying cheap, irrelevant links and calling it link building. Those links might nudge a score, but they rarely send qualified traffic and can create risk in both search and buyer trust. Pair that with ignored technical issues, slow pages, messy redirects, duplicate content, and you silently cap how much benefit new links can deliver, which makes the spend inefficient even when the strategy is right. Advanced optimization, ABM alignment, relevance, and reputation hygiene. If you run ABM, your authority strategy should mirror your target account strategy. Build vertical content hubs that speak directly to the industries and job titles you're pursuing. Then earn placements in the publications and communities those buyers already trust. This surround the account approach works because it aligns rankings, referrals, and outbound touches into one narrative instead of disconnected campaigns. Relevance is the multiplier most teams underweight. A handful of links from genuinely respected niche sites can outperform dozens of generic placements because those links drive both authority and real buyer traffic. And since 91% of SEO leaders report SEO positively impacting performance and marketing goals, the companies winning here are the ones treating authority building as an operating system. Content production, digital PR, partnerships, and technical hygiene running together. One important nuance for sales leaders: SEO authority is not the same as email reputation. DR helps you rank. Sender reputation helps your deliverability. If you hire SDRs or stand up new domains for Outbound, keep your main website domain clean with careful redirects, consistent architecture, and backlink hygiene so you don't accidentally create confusion or risk while scaling outreach. What to measure next? A shared dashboard that proves revenue impact. To make domain authority stick as a priority, report it like a revenue leader, not an SEO specialist. Track your primary authority metric alongside organic pipeline, inbound meeting rate, demo request growth, and win rate trends by source. When leadership sees authority movement correlate with more qualified deals, it becomes much easier to keep investing in content and link acquisition. Set a monthly cadence. Review new referring domains, link relevance, top-performing pages, and technical issues that could be throttling growth. Then tie those findings to the outbound plan. What assets your cold calling team will use, what industries you're prioritizing, and which partners or communities you'll pursue for credibility. This is how SEO stops being a side project and becomes part of your operating rhythm as a B2B sales agency. Your next step is straightforward. Choose a primary tool. Build one high-intent content hub that sales will actually use, and launch a link acquisition motion focused on buyer-trusted sites. If you keep authority and outbound in separate lanes, growth stays linear. If you connect them, results compound. That's the play we've seen work repeatedly, turning visibility into meetings and meetings into revenue.